Hello and welcome everybody to Around the Battleground. My name is LHS and I'm your host, and today is a very special day. It's opening day of the Smite Pro League, a day we didn't think would come. We haven't seen Smite Pro action since November, which was this year's Worlds first year. It's been such a long offseason. Usually we only go from, January, February to March, April, right on this time. So it's a lot longer of an off season this year. Of course, that's accommodating moving out the players, getting team houses, all that kind of stuff. But after the long drought, our 40 days and nights in the desert, we we've emerged on the other side to the glorious holy land that is the Smite Pro League. So today was an opening day. We had a bunch of cool matches, and we're going to talk about that. I've got a lot to say, a lot of breakdown between the two sets we saw today, and then I'll do some predicting for tomorrow's set. And I don't think there's a schedule that I could look at next week. So hopefully I can get my hands on that. I just haven't seen that if it is available. So we'll talk about the SPL, but before we get to the SPL, there has been some SML action. We're 3 weeks in to the Smite Minor League, and I think it's about time I sat down and kind of talked about that. I've got a lot of opinions, especially on the EU side, and I feel like the Smite Minor League just doesn't get enough talk about it. There's a lot going on down there, a lot of storylines, and then I think the Smite console league, I haven't been watching enough of it. I'm going to start paying more attention to that, so I'll be talking about that more. And then I don't know that the combine has a place to talk about. There's just not enough daylight hours and time in the week for me to really follow all of these leagues. Combine, I could probably get a little overview, but I don't think there's anything I can really talk about at length. So let's take a look at the standings for the minor league and see where we kind of fall after 3 weeks of play. We can start to see an idea of what the field looks like. For North America, Armada at the top, no big surprise there. Cryptic in second, Sanguine in third, and Space Station Gold in last place with no wins. Huge shocker there. Uh, that's one of the things I got a lot of talk about. And then moving over to the EU side of things, we've got Flashpoint and Simplicity kind of tied with in first there. 2 wins, 1 loss for both of them. And then Out Cold and Queso also tied with 1 win and 2 losses. So EU, a little bit of a tighter race there. It's really anybody's game, but there's a lot to say on both sides. And I think I don't know. Let's start with NA because it's more local to us, right? It's more my backyard as an American, right? Sorry, I didn't mean to hit the mic there. Got a little too excited for what I'm about to say. So we have SSG Gold, which everybody kind of pegged that team as the one who was not going to produce any real results. That is the stream team. We saw Space Station do this before with an Incon led team, and it's just something that this brand, it's really all about the community. And I love Space Station, don't get me wrong, but they are not building the most competitive roster, the championship bound roster. Their rosters are more aimed at what I feel like is the middle of the road, um, definitely the personality driven, the good guys. You look at the pro roster and it's Barra and Jeff. That's going to be the hometown favorites every time. Then you look at their minor league roster and it's Matty Pocket support. Matty Pocket, from what I've seen, is a mid main. And then we have Chapo playing, and Chapo deserves more than what he's getting out of this team. And Chapo, is kind of in that Incon slot where he streams more than he plays. This team doesn't scrim, right? They just don't have the time for it between college and looking at the streaming schedule and things like that. One moment, my cam is out of focus. I don't know why. Ugh. There. Is that can you focus on me now? Can you focus on me now? I don't know if that fixed it. Uh, but here, I got let me go into my settings real quick and figure out what's going on here. Technical difficulties. It wouldn't be a LHS stream if there wasn't some technical difficulties there. There we go. We've got a good stream again. We've got webcam. All right. So where was I? This team is not a team that scrims. To win at Smite, you have to scrim, right? That is one of the biggest things about the pro scene, the competitive scene. And you see the combine kids, the minor league kids, the pros, they're all grinding. They're all scrimming all the time. This is what being a pro is. And so when this team got announced, a lot of people hated on it. A lot of people threw flack at it. I think I did as well. I think maybe a lighter shade than everybody else was throwing just because I wanted to see what they did. Obviously, it's easy to say that this team isn't going to do anything. They're just here to collect a paycheck and to stream for Space Station to get the Space Station name out there more, which is the MO for a Space Station Gold. That's what they did last time. Why wouldn't that be what they're doing now? And then it came out that they're not going to scrim at all. And that's where everyone was like, really? Like, this is the squad that got picked up over a solo or trolls team? Really? Solo or troll, like, hear me? Those guys, like, they're hungry. They want to win. They want to be in the SPL and the SML so badly, and they'll do anything for it. They'll scrim every day if they need to and have to. Like, and that's the difference. I don't like the Space Station Gold team from that perspective. Chapo deserves better than this. Uzzy deserves better than this. It's hard. It's really hard to really watch this team. Oswald, I like Oz, but the Wald is he? Does he deserve as an ADC to be in there over everybody else? I don't know. Uh, it's it's a weird team. They're winless so far. I didn't think we would go into this and have a winless minor league. We have the stipulation of a winless minor league team can get kicked out for a combine team. Will that happen? I don't know. I think Space Station isn't the worst team, right? And I said this the first week is that a lot of people hated on Matty Pocket, and there's a lot of hate that gets thrown at his way for a variety of reasons. And it's not really my. I guess it is my place to talk about it, but I take a little bit of an impartial place there because you know uh, I call him out when it happens. The whole mythic thing was a weird. I think it got a little bit out of proportion, overblown. I don't know kind of the stuff in the past that people kind of hold against him. And then I think he gets a lot of flack for him and Taco, but I don't think there's anything real there. But one thing I will say you can't knock about him is his support play. That first week, I think I was like, okay, that is a perfectly adequate support player. His mechanics were decent, decision making decent. I don't hate him as big of if you put anybody else in that spot and you change Maddie's name to Joe McBlowen, and I don't think anybody has a problem with that. You call him Shady Meeks, and they're calling him the next adapting. You put you put Shady Meeks in that position, he's the next Jeff Henla. He's the next Aurora, right? Like he's doing good things. He's got so much potential, but when you have a quantified person, it it just doesn't work that way, right? Like people are just like, oh, well, he should be doing better. Oh, they're super hypercritical, and I tried to not be that way. And was he the best support in the world? No, far from it. But I think he is at a skill level that is perfectly fine for this minor league. I don't have a problem with him as a player. Uh, this whole team as players, I don't really have a problem with it. They just aren't putting in the time that's going to be required at this level. And I think I don't know that Hi-Rez can really step in and say anything, right? That's not their job. But say Space Station's playing and they, look like they're going to be winless. And so you're looking at Solar Troll's team. You're looking at one of these top combine teams coming in, right? And do you really want to play against them? And maybe they're scrimming, they're trying, they could take games off of you, or you want to keep the Space Station Gold team in and farm some easy W's. It's hard to say. This was one of the things that was brought up at the inception of the minor league, and it's a problem. I don't expect Space Station Gold to go winless. Chapo wants the win, and Wald wants the win. Ozzy wants to win. These are all players who want to win, and they have had flashes of not brilliance, but they've had flashes of real potential. They could do a lot, and I think that we are going to see them get a W somewhere. I think that they'll have a game where somebody just pops off and carries. That is something I absolutely see, but I don't think we'll see this team have long-term success. And I think that's just due to the way that Space Station itself is building out its Smite presence. You look at the difference between Space Station and Obey. Obey was also fiercely loyal to a team and didn't want to make big changes to it. And they brought, you know, uh, Ataraxia, they brought Twig, Pretty Prime. They brought all these guys in and kind of made some changes with support, made some changes to solo, but those were their core guys, and it worked out largely. And now that Obey's not here, and they never went for Obey started as a stream team, right? As far as like COD and everything like that, and then they got into Smite as like an actual esports thing, and they picked up some of the streamers. Like Nate obviously doesn't stream, but Pretty Prime streamed a lot or streams a lot now. I don't know which came first. I don't know if it was Obey who then made, Prime stream, or Prime was already streaming. I don't remember. It's been a while since those guys weren't on Obey. Like that was season 3. Um so but anyway, like be getting back on track here. Space Station, it picks up Barra, one of the bigger streamers, picks up Jeff. He streams with Barra all the time, picks up that whole pro team and is loyal to it. Picks up and insert like they pick up these guys who are together and they're favorites, and then it just doesn't work. They pick up Baskin, another favorite. They pick up that team and they don't get a coach. They don't really make all the adjustments I feel like is really necessary to make a deep run. And then we go into the year and they have a coach now. It's Plasma. Still yet to be seen on what Plasma's going to do. But then they don't make the changes. They stick with the boys, right? So then you look at Space Station Gold. Space Station Gold has 100% been a stream team from the very beginning. They weren't concerned about winning the first time around. They won a game here and there, but they were mostly, they were the guys who were the stream team for Twitch, who were then their competitive team. And it was more about getting their name out there, getting to a wider audience, and it works. So there's a lot of Space Station fans because Bear represents them, Chapo represents them, right? Maddie represents them. There's a lot of people that's a very large audience, and so like I don't demonize Space Station for what they're doing. It's very smart, and it's building up a good base. But at some point, you're setting yourself up for failure because you're going to be the bad guy, right? Because at some point, you're either going to leave Smite or you're going to try to actually win a world's championship. And to do that, you're going to kick the homegrown talent. You're going to kick the fan favorites to try to build something better. And then you have to hope that your fan base doesn't turn on you. And so I worry about that with Space Station. But who knows what's going to happen there. It's still too early to say that, the space station won't win worlds, they won't turn it around, that they won't adapt. There's a lot of time to wait, but it's my minor league space station gold looks troubling, and for what it represents, and it's a stream team and a competitive stuff, and there's just not a place for that right now. Sanguine, I love that Sanguine is in here now. Having the Latims be represented, they haven't found a lot of success, only the one win, but they're still kind of growing. This is a kind of a younger Smite team in comparison. Really, they have a lot of room to grow, and I'm really excited about where they're going to go. And I think they have a pretty decent chance of maybe taking over that second spot from Cryptic. Cryptic has been doing all right. You've still got some clunky stuff here. Q weird builds or decisions are still a staple, but they are looking decent. They're looking strong. They are. If there wasn't for Armada, they would be in first place. I think. But Armada is just such a strong, dominant force. You can't really do anything. They are looking like this is an SPL caliber team that's just in the SML, and it shows. I don't expect Armada really. I don't expect them to drop a set at all. Really, if I am being honest, like I think Armada just wins out and easily kind of makes it there. And this is kind of what I thought some of the EU would look like, but obviously EU is shaping up a little differently. Over in EU, it's you're 2-1, 2-1, 1-2, 1-2. It's a little bit more in the thick of things. You got Queso with a win, out cold with a single win. The out cold is interesting to me because this was a roster that I pegged as being one of the strongest in EU, kind of matching my Armada predictions. But out cold has had some problems with the support. So they ran with Hazer, they ran with Half Devil. I don't think Immel ever played a game for them. And then it came out this week that Emily 2 is retiring from the Smite minor league team. I don't know what that means moving forward. I don't know if Immel is just not moving, period. What's going on behind the scenes there? It's curious. The timing of it, the fact that he never actually played, all that kind of stuff really uh, makes me question what's going on there. If he's maybe making a return to the pro league or something along those lines, who knows? There's a lot of question marks there. But Out Cold has been trying to do what they can, and they've looked bad. If I'm being completely honest, like brutally honest, they've looked bad. They look like they don't want to be there. There's just something is off. Uh, I don't know what it is. If is it just the level of competition, or if it is bad luck, just getting the players. But something hasn't been working for this squad. Uh, Pretty Prime has been doing work. I've seen them, win some scrims and everything like that. I've seen them have success. They look good, and then something happens in the game, and it just doesn't translate. I don't know what's going on with this team. If it's just a little rust, they're going to have a slow start and kind of pick it up as it goes. Demi's been out a while. Prime is still one of the best mids in the world, I feel like. And then I don't know. This is Frostiak was on Cheerios team when they started making all their huge run for Worlds, right? Like there was a chance where like Cheerios team was like, oh snap, like this is it, and then this isn't it. I don't know. I don't know what to feel about that roster. I don't think I think it's too early to tell with them, but if they continue this level of play, I don't see them progressing to Worlds, which is not something I would have said at the beginning of the year. Team Queso, they have Alpha Jackal as their coach, which I think is really cool. The Jackal coaching the Spaniards, and they've had some solid drafts. They've had some solid games. I believe they took their game off Out Cold. which was cool. And they've just looked good. I like what I've seen from them. They've improved. They this is the I think I look at them like I look at Sanguine, where there's just a lot of room for improvement because of who they're playing and everything like that. I'm excited to watch Queso grow. At the top of Flashpoint, I love Flashpoint. I love Sibby. I love Johnny. I love Farrakrick. I love Spanify. I love Fusify. I love this team. This is probably my favorite non-SPL team ever, from combine to minor league, whatever these guys have gone. I've loved them. I always think that they all deserve to be in the SPL. Uh, I love watching them. They're an absolute joy. Flashpoint is a strong team, and I think that if they don't win out, I could see them going to Worlds. I could see them winning out the minor league for EU. Um, I think Simplicity has looked pretty good. Maniac is a maniac. Good one, Zach. I know everybody. I get paid the big bucks to make those shitty jokes. But Simplicity has looked strong as well. And I think you're looking at Flashpoint and Simplicity right now, and seeing if Out Cold can kind of shake off the rust and shake off, the ice and break out of their frigid playstyle right now. But it just doesn't look great for them right now. Uh, so that's where we're at with the minor league. We do have the SPL games for today. I think that's kind of the natural kind of state to kind of switch over at. Looking at today, we had the Pittsburgh Knights play SK Gaming. We had Dignitas play Space Station Gaming. And tomorrow we have Space Station Gaming playing the Pittsburgh Knights. And so we started the day off with so SK Gaming got 3-0'd by Pittsburgh, Dignitas 3-0'd Space Station. And then tomorrow, 11 a.m. over on Mixer, we've got Space Station playing Pittsburgh. So I don't know what our schedule is really going to look like from here on out, but that's what it is this week. And I want to really focus on this Pittsburgh Knight SK game because it doesn't get accurately represented by the scoreline. 3-0, right? But SK should have won the first two games. Game 3 was Pittsburgh Knights from the word go. But SK made dumb mistakes down the stretch that just led them to dropping it. The first game, they got wiped after a fire giant, and then Pittsburgh just walked down and ended. And then game 2, something similar. They lost a team fight, and then from there, it was just bad. SK is a young team still. You got Paul. Paul did not play the level of Paul hype that everyone's got. Paul played to Paul. Paul is good, but he also has games where you're just like, this is the guy everybody's talking so much stuff about. Like, this is the savior. This is the next great mid lane prodigy. Unfortunately, he stuck to a god pick today, and then it just didn't work out. The Vulcan pick did not work, and they went to it 3 games in a row, and it was just not working. Whether it was by communication, was it just a god? I don't know. After 2 games, I think you try something different, especially after the way game 2 ended. They played their composition poorly. Try something else. Play Raijin, for God's sakes. Do something different. SK handed the Knights their asses for about 20 minutes in both games and then dropped the ball. Pittsburgh Knights did not look like the super team that they are, in my opinion. And I know I'm gonna be labeled as like just a hater, and then like I want to see the Knights fail, and part of that is I don't like super teams and everything like that, So I want to see them, like I see problems in it, and I want those problems to come true because that's no fun when the super team just wins, right? But looking at the Pittsburgh Knights, if this is the Pittsburgh Knights that show up every week, it's not gonna be a good season for them. A lot of people were saying that they're so good at Smite. That was the joke, right? Like this team might be the best team. They might be good at Smite, ha ha ha. But they they did not look like the dominant team that they are, in my opinion. They had a lot of mistakes. They played poorly. Adapting bailed them out in game one. Almost got the Penta, got a Quadra. And game two, SK just stopped executing their comp correctly. I mean, not to say that they like executed it correctly, perfectly at all in that game. They had good ideas, they just didn't do it. And I think that's really the story of Pittsburgh Knights versus SK in this first set is that Pittsburgh Knights still have a lot of growing to do, and so do SK. I don't look at this first set and say that Pittsburgh is the best team in the world, right? That is not something I think that doesn't come to mind immediately. I think that Pittsburgh Knights are as good at um, capitalizing on a mistake as ever. I think they might be better at it now than when they were NRG, but I still have a lot of worries about them needing to do that, right? If you play correctly, you can just avoid if you don't make mistakes, you avoid getting collapsed on and like having mistakes exploited, right? If you play against Pittsburgh Knights. That sounds like shitty to say, and I look at it and I roll my eyes after as it comes off my tongue. But there's got to be a point where I want to see Pittsburgh Knights dominate like they did in game three. Game three, Pittsburgh Knights looked dominant. They won in 22 minutes or 23 minutes or something like that, sub 25, and they controlled that game from start to finish, head to toe. They were the better team. That was only one game. So I want to see them do that again. And I think it'll be really interesting moving forward. Game number two, set number two, Dignitas versus Space Station Gaming. I am not high on Space Station Gaming. I am very high on this Dignitas roster. I think adding Nate and adding Hurrywind was probably the two best moves that this team could have done. I think that they add everything that they could have wanted. I really, really like these two additions. I think Hurrywind does everything you need him to do and fills Zero's spot admirably. I think that his God pool is going to work just as well with the team, and I like doing player comparisons, and I'm either dead wrong or you can see it, but I like him as a rich man's Nalissa. I think that is very comparable. Nalissa when she was on Elevate, I didn't ever hate Nalissa. You would maybe say, oh, I wish Nalissa could do more, but you never looked at a game and was like, oh, Nulissa solely lost in that game, right? That was usually not the case. Being able to play pretty safely, not going to die, hit your abilities, know where to go in and do all of that. Sometimes you just need someone to show up to work every day and do their job. You don't need them to go out of their way and you go above and beyond the call of duty. Sometimes that is required, but I don't think it is. I don't think you need 5 players of that. That's where it gets tricky. That's where it gets weird, and that's why I don't look at the Pittsburgh Knights so highly because I don't think that will work with their comp, right? So looking at Dignitas, Hurry is going to do everything you want him to do, and usually nothing that you don't want him to do. And then finally, the bigger comparison for him and Ulysses, they both have a crazy Giannis, right? We saw that today. Then you look at Nate Ataraxia. Is he a step down from Arkle? Maybe. You look at Nate's performance in the postseason last year. He got Freya one game and didn't make any noise on it when Freya was certifiably broken. Whether that was by design, whether that was just Nate not feeling it, I don't know. I can only speculate. But Nate, to me, usually isn't that guy who goes. He's not Zapman. He's not going to go solo three people in a lane, right? He's not going to go take those fights. He's not going to do that. He's going to do his job. He's going to facilitate a lot. He's going to do some weird builds. He's going to make calls, and he's going to be super chill about it. I think Nate's one of the best personalities in the game. I loved all of those Obey guys. And then I look at Dignitas now. Dignitas is my new Obey, for me at least. I love this squad. I think everybody on this team is amazing and great, from their coach to their players to the org. I really like Dignitas. I'm going to be fangirling a lot about Dignitas this season. And SSG on their side, I've already pointed out some problems. I don't like Space Station Gaming competitively. I love Barra and Jeff. Jeff is one of the biggest reasons I became a support main. His Sylvanas play at Season 3 Worlds made me like, I want to do that. Right there with Raffer's Kepri play, I wanted to do that. I became a support main in Season 4 because of Jeff Henla and Raffer. That's just the fact. So I always love Jeff. Then Andy is just a staple. He's an old head OG of the Smite scene. Vin is, I love Vin, good dude, and Aquarius is a good, strong, up and coming youth in the solo lane. As individuals, I like them. Competitively, there needs to be changes. I think Jeff kind of showcased some troubles keeping up in the game last year. You look at the world's performance, and he was just out of position, wasn't making the correct decisions. The pathing was weird. It was weird. You don't usually see that from Jeff, but that was every game. And so it was, I don't know what to say there with that. It wasn't something I expected to see. And I want to see him get better. I want to see Jeff come. I wanted to see Jeff come out with a flash and like, yeah, let's go. We didn't see that. Barra. Zap has had a little bit of resurgence. Barra had a little bit of that, and then I don't think it's still there. I don't know what to think about Barra as an ADC. Has he lost his first step? You look at Andy. Has he gone out of touch with the jungle role? Vin and Aquarius are young guys, and who do you build around? The young guys, the talent and potential, or the guys who've been there for a while and who maybe slowing down? If I'm Space Station Gaming, I get rid of Jeff and Andy at the least. That is what I look at doing. Going into the season, at least, right? I explore options there. So if they were there, I take them. If they're not, I never say it. I never let the public know about it, right? Because they would turn on me. They knew I was getting rid of, Jeff or Barra. If I'm getting rid of Jeff, I must be getting rid of Barra. Things like that. Like there's so many problems that kind of arise from looking to move any of those guys. I genuinely think, especially after today, Dignitas wiped the floor with Space Station from start to finish. You look at Space Station, and everybody say it with me. What the meme about Space Station is what they can't draft. And is that still true? They got Plasma as the coach. I like Plasma. I coached Plasma for a week or so in the combine. I really liked his mentality. I think he's a really good player. Is he a coach? Can he kind of be the coach that SSG needs? I don't know. I really don't know. I want to see him succeed. that would be really cool for me. I would love to see Plasma kind of step up and become a coach, right? We're seeing the former players kind of come in and being coaches now, right? That's kind of cool to me. Uh, but they let the King Arthur come through. King Harry decimated them. Aquarius got soloed, got ganked, got put way behind, and SSG couldn't adapt, could not find an answer for anything Dignitas was trying to do. If this is if this is representative of what's going to happen the rest of the year, I think I have SSG as a bottom 3 team. I look at LG, I look at Trifecta, and I look at SSG. And that's without seeing anybody else play, right? That's right now based off of who I have seen play and then based off of rosters and just like gut feeling, right? Um, that's not great. That's not good. It feels really bad to see SSG in that position and kind of mock them in that way. And I don't mean mock I'm like mock as in like a mock draft, right? I look at that. Just wanted to be clear. Uh, I think we learned a lot more about the game and teams in this set than we did in the first because Dignitas handedly won 3 in a row against Space Station, unlike, Pittsburgh Knights. Pittsburgh Knights handedly won 1 and won the other 2 because SK fucked up. Like, that's realistically what happened. And so I will not say that Dignitas is the best team in the world. They've still got to play Pittsburgh. They still have to play Rival. There are still other games that need to be played that I have to see. But I do have that notion. I have that in my brain percolating that Dignitas might be the best team in the world. If they can do what they did to Space Station and everybody else, I think this team is gonna, get over the hump that's been plaguing them for a while. Tomorrow we've got Space Station and the Knights, and I think this will be a really interesting one. Can Space Station bounce back, kind of shake off what Dignitas did to them? And can the Pittsburgh Knights really find consistency and do to SSG what Dignitas did to them? That's the biggest thing for learning tomorrow. If Pittsburgh doesn't absolutely stomp SSG, then we have more questions. We can then definitely put Dignitas ahead of the Pittsburgh Knights. Pittsburgh Knights have a lot to prove tomorrow that they are worthy of their spot as the best team in the world, that they are the super team to worry about. But who knows? I don't really know what to expect. I'm really excited for this season. The meta is a little shifty. I don't really like the as a player the meta. I think as a coach and as a mind and analyst, I really like what they're doing right now because it's smart. It's a smart way to play the game, even if it's not fun. And I think that's a distinction that needs to be made here. Wasting time and trying to be annoying at the speed buff. A lot of Smite has been played the same way for a long time, just because that's just how you play Smite. And we need to stop that shit. There's so much that could happen. There's so much that you could experiment with, and I want to see that. I want to see teams kind of really dedicate some time to that. And the meta we're in right now is kind of like it's a symptom of everybody like, oh, we think this is broken, so we're all going to do it and force a fix, right? And I think once that kind of gets into the scene, it's really hard to get out until a change is made. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how Hi-Rez addresses this in some patch notes, and then what the players and everybody do after this to see kind of how they reshape their metas and picks and things like that. I'm excited to see where season 6 takes us. I think there's a lot of potential. Shout out to Skill Shot and everybody a part of that, the content that they're making, the docs, everything has been amazing. I'm really looking forward to this whole year of content. I think they're killing it. And this is probably the best year of content for Smite since the last bathtub interview. So since the days of Bart, I think that's going to do a lot for the game of Smite and getting us out there and kind of reviving the image of Smite. Because Smite's never died. Smite's not dead. It's not dying, but it is. Uh, it does have an appearance of lethargy. Lethargy. I don't know why I said it the weird the first time, but there's a lethargy to the Smite scene from the outside looking in. Um, and maybe we can kind of change that this year. We had about, I think we had 7,000 viewers on Mixer for our opening day. A lot of people won't say that's enough, but I think for Mixer, for where we're at for Smite, I think that was pretty good. And I think that you can only go up from there. I want to see Smite. I think everybody kind of gets in on the train of talking smack about Hi-Rez and Smite and the decision making, and it's all negative. But like we all just want to see them succeed. So I don't know. That's I think that's really all I've got for today. There wasn't a whole lot of stuff to really dissect and break down, apart from just how I'm feeling after the first sets. I think looking at tomorrow's Space Station Gaming, I probably a 3-0 from Pittsburgh Knights. I don't really expect to see Space Station beat Pittsburgh in any game, but I would love to be surprised. I love Barra. And obviously, like I said, Pittsburgh Knights. It's no fun when the Warriors win, right? And Pittsburgh Knights are built up as the Warriors right now, so we'll see what happens there. So this is our new night, Thursdays, 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Really, guys, hope you guys like it and support us. We do this for you guys. I love the game and I love talking, so I do it for myself as well, but like I really do it to try to connect with the community. So make sure you shout us out, give us a follow, a sub if you want and can. And then, follow me at the Zach Dick. Go to our YouTube channel where we put the VODs, spread them on social media. That's our biggest push right now. I want to start getting more eyes on this. And so far, just me promoting hasn't worked. Shout outs to Wowie, actually. Last week's episode with the interview with Slaney, he actually watched it on stream. So big thanks to Wowie for that. That was a lot of fun. I was kind of in chat while he was doing that, so that was cool. And so just share our content, guys. If you like what you see, let us know how we can make it better, and just show it to your friends. We want to grow, and I want to do more cool stuff. So that's it. My name is LHS, and I will see you around the battleground. Goodbye, everybody.